Boise State, I lived in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is about 7.5 hours north and about an hour south of the Canadian border. The big thing about that area up there is it is entirely forest and lakes. Coeur d'Alene itself is surrounded by three lakes: Fernan, Hayden, and Coeur d'Alene Lake itself. There are about three or four other lakes only about half an hour away, but each of those three lakes that I named before are less than 15-20 minutes apart. One of the reasons why I like Boise is because of the water and the tree life that is just around the area. Yeah, Boise is kind of a desert on the edges. Mountain Home, Nampa, those areas are just kind of farmland and desert. But Boise itself is like an oasis. It has a river running right through the middle of the city, which I find kind of funny because Coeur d'Alene, with all of its river and water life and stuff, doesn't really have anything through the middle of the city. I've just always found it so cool knowing that I can walk off campus and be right on the river. That sounds weird, but the other school I was looking at was University of Idaho. University of Idaho is a nice school, but it's kind of in the middle of nowhere and just there's only farmland around it, nothing much more than that. So I liked coming to a school where I felt like I could be outside and in nature, which is something that I really enjoyed about Coeur d'Alene. I can safely say that I have explored about 3 miles in complete diameter and left nothing untouched. Coeur d'Alene was an amazing city to grow up in, but when I was finally getting ready to leave, I realized I wanted to leave the city of Coeur d'Alene. What I didn't want to leave was my need for adventure and my desire to be in the trees and the mountains. Boise is the city for that. Only an hour away is the Sawtooth Mountains. An hour in the other direction, and you're hitting McCall. And to me, McCall is like another picture perfect city, but that's besides the point. I just love being somewhere that reminds me of home. And the picture I chose, which is the river crossing through the middle of Boise, reminds me of that. I have spent many, many summers floating the rivers in Coeur d'Alene, and while the rivers are longer there, and you can float for a lot longer, like 6 hours compared to like 2 hours here, it's still the same kind of goal for me. Being outside, being around water, being able to experience life outside and not just inside.